Hello everyone, my name is Deblina Ray.
And my name is Abhishek Singh.
Welcome back to yet another episode of Weekends with Us. We took a short break because of the Durga Puja festivities, but now we are back. But let me first ask you this very important question. How are you doing?
How you doing?
Because there are a lot of new shows and series which have come up and which are also coming up, and for an audience like us, it is a boom. While there are shows like Permanent Roommates, Aspirants, today we are going to focus on Kaala Paani. Also mentioning that we are also going to review on the other two shows that we have already talked about. Speaking of Kaala Paani, you might have seen the posters around the streets of Mumbai and even in Netflix where they have promoted heavily in the name of Mona Singh because she is there right just on the banner. There are other prominent actors also which I would like to bring your attention to, and those are Vikas Singh, who has actually played the role of ACP Khan in Arya, and very prominent role like Inspector Rajat in CID. We also see the comeback of Ashutosh Gowariker as an actor. There are other people also who have played a key role in this movie, and those are
Like for example, there is Radhika Mehrotra. She plays a good role of a junior doctor. There is Tukan Goyal, who has a very good arc during the entire series. There is Arushi Sharma. We have seen her in a bunch of TV series before. She also has a good role here. And Amay Wagh, he plays the character of the policeman. Also a good role.
And let me tell you, because we always give away the verdict at the start of the video, this is a must watch. Irrespective of what the other reviewers or movie reviewers are actually speaking about, this is something that you should watch. Why so? Of course because of the story, but also because of the director and the story writer. And they are Biswapati Sarkar and Amit Golani and Sameer Saxena. These are the people who had started the OTT journey even before OTT was a scene. These are the people who come from the TVF background and have produced amazing stories and series to watch like Panchayat, then Permanent Roommates, Pictures. I'm sure you love all of them. So you should be going ahead and watching this series because of the respect that these people have earned with the years they have been in the industry.
Yeah, so the plot revolves around a potential pandemic which is going to take place in the year 2027. So it takes place in the future on the island of Andaman. And we see a lot of characters, and these characters are into different groups. There is Atom, which is kind of a company which does everything. They set pipelines, they have industries, they have medical facilities, they manufacture phones as well. So they are like Reliance of the Andaman. And then there is the medical community. They are doctors who are researchers who are trying to figure out what is happening in the series. There are policemen. Amay Wagh is a policeman who is basically the prime focus from that particular set. And when we also have the native tribe, the fictional tribe of Urakas. So the actual tribes of Andaman are different. There are like 3-4 sets of tribes which are there in Andaman. But here we see a fictional tribe which is there. And the series, turns into this struggle about surviving, about the people who are the inhabitants of the island, who are trying to survive, the natives who are also trying to survive, and these factions who each have their own agendas in mind and how that comes together.
Yeah, even the doctors and the researchers trying to find out that what is this pandemic all about. I mean, it is set in the year of 2027. People are already aware of something like COVID has happened in the past, and that is how that journey begins to even find out the source of the disease.
Right. And this story, I think, is smartly written, where they show a lot of history. It's not like it's just a mysterious virus and it's spreading throughout the island. They actually try to explain it to a degree that this has centuries of history. There has something which might have happened before. This spreads through these kind of mediums. So they try to put some thought to it, that this is the way this bacteria or this thing works.
Yeah. Like there is some research, of course, we shouldn't expect anything less from the writers, very well known and very well established writers as well. Speaking of history, I mean, although Oraka as a name is a fictional name, but we did a little bit of Google research and we found out that there are actually tribes who are living in Andaman for centuries or for years, thousands of years, and they look exactly the way they have been represented in the movie as well, with an assumption that probably these are the people who come from African ancestry. And they also speak a language which, like an ordinary population like us, do not really understand the meaning of it. I think these days we're also seeing a lot of tribal representation also, which is an absolutely fabulous thing. Like we have seen this in Kantara, we have seen this in Jawan movie as well. And it is good to see, like, how the tribal population is trying to survive in a rapidly fast growing civilization, with their own ways of evolution and surviving in this world.
Right. So the movie, I think, is very well written. They try to show native population, which is a very good thing, and especially Andaman's native population hasn't been shown anywhere else.
Yeah, actually, I think Andaman as a location also hasn't really been represented much.
Right.
So I think great job on that. Speaking of the cast, although Mona Singh has been represented as the banner face of the movie, unfortunately, her character dies in probably just 15 to 20 minutes of the screen time. And that happens in the first episode itself. So that was a shocker and a bummer for audience like us, because we thought that is heavily promoted in the name of Mona Singh. Also, her character wasn't really sketched to the extent as it could have been sketched.
Right. I mean, there were nuances of her character which was established. I mean, she's shown to be this strong, women leader, doctor, CMO, who is there, and she is trying to figure out certain things, and she is handicapped. She also has a, false leg, a metal leg, basically, and that is shown very prominently. So that did not play really a role in the series.
It did not. Like, if you're showing an amputated leg, right, if it is not really adding to the story, I did not really understand, or it did not really fit well with me. Like, how did that add to the storyline? Like, if you had to die only in the first few minutes, you could have just died.
Right.
Just died.
Yeah.
Like, just by falling off also you can die. For that, you did not really need an amputated leg for that matter.
Exactly.
So that was one. So while we are on the episode 1 where Mona Singh any which ways dies, let us speak about the things that we thought were not really well researched, or we thought that could have been well represented. So the first point was
the disease itself, whether or not it's waterborne or airborne, or how is it spreading really. So I think that was one point which was not very well explained. I mean, the movie, or the series rather, is very smart in explaining a lot of things, but this particular point was not very well explained, I feel.
Yeah, and explained also, like, after a lot of trial and error.
Yeah.
I think to find whether it is an airborne or whether it is a waterborne, like, at least after experience in COVID,
right,
people and the doctors and the researchers are, I'm assuming, is now faster in approaching to this conclusion.
Right.
So they took a lot of trial and errors to reach to this one conclusion, that whether it is airborne or waterborne.
Exactly.
So not expected from a character who is so diggaj in their own field.
Yeah, exactly. They have all the data points. They have the patients within the facility. They know that these are the patients. They will have their blood samples. They will have their locations. It shows that they have locations of these people where they are getting sick.
And the common thing is also a water body.
It takes like half an episode to them to understand that, oh, there is a big lake between these 3 locations. I'm like, what kind of map are you looking at? It should show there is a water body in between.
Yeah.
Then comes, some other weird plot holes, like, for example, so the character of Amewak, the policeman, he is trying to get this disease out of the picture because he is on the side of corporation. He tries to discredit this disease theory. So what he says, it's probably because of cheap alcohol. Cheap alcohol is the reason. Now, eventually, Mona Singh realizes that, okay, so one of the patients is actually a teetotaler. So if he's a teetotaler, you could have, I'm sure you would be taking medical histories of these people. You would have blood reports of these people. If they got sick with alcohol, you would see traces of alcohol in the blood. It actually takes that person to verbally tell her, ki, oh, I don't drink alcohol. That is what makes her realize, oh, so this wasn't the reason.
Yeah, because the blood test is something which we do for everything we do blood test report. So
Right.
over there we felt like there is some sort of a miss in terms of writing the story.
Right.
Another plot hole which we found was, if you are seeing that it is a waterborne disease, then of course there is a lot of bacterial infection. So why not announce it to the world, or at least to the population? What are the remedies to it? Should you be boiling the water and drinking it? That is not mentioned at all. Where are the water supplies coming from? That is also not mentioned. Like, there is a particular time when it is mentioned that the Andaman as an entire territory is now being secluded from India as a nation. So from where are they getting water? That is not at all being shown. Is government distributing water? So where are they getting it from?
Yeah. So that part was not very well explained. That what is this water? I mean, where are they getting it from? Are they like distilling the seawater? Are they getting it from some other source? What is that source of water? And even afterwards, like we established that now that people are drinking safe water only from the tankers, still people are falling sick. So
Yeah.
so like, how is that happening? Are they could explain that maybe it's now spreading through human touch, human fluid, like maybe people are sneezing, coughing, that's the cause. Because some people who are absolutely secluded, like one of the executives of the company who is absolutely secluded from everything else, might be only drinking safest of the water, she also falls sick to the disease. How?
Yeah, so that bifurcation was really not shown properly, because throughout the series also, like even towards the later half, when across the population people are aware that it is some sort of disease is happening, people are still drinking water. There is no fear in their face or nothing which is apparent from their faces, that they are scared of drinking water. They are drinking water. So
Exactly.
that is where we felt like there are certain loopholes.
Yeah, exactly. Because you're absolutely right. They don't, during the series, they don't actually announce it at all, that at least explicitly. Like,
Yeah, they
the
don't.
characters talk about it, but at least that we don't see any kind of communication from government. Please don't drink unsafe water, boil it, something like that. The first thing that they do is choose not to tell anybody.
Yeah.
We'll not tell anybody at all. We'll mark it like a drill. Like, we'll just do random checks and figure out who is sick, who is not sick. But not, at least you can announce that maybe there is some kind of disease, you need to drink safe water. Nothing of that sort happened.
But I think enough of Chugli. We like the movie because of many other reasons as well. So we are going to speak about that. I think the highlight is, of course, the story, but that has been painted really well by the characters. And let me take you through the characters one by one. And when I talked initially, like how the Darwin's theory of evolution is not just painted in the form of storyline, but also in the form of the characters as well. For example, I think the highlight of the entire series is going to be ACP Khan, मतलब Vikas Kumar. And he plays the role of a father, a distressed father who is out for a vacation with his family, and in due course of time, because of this pandemic, he and his wife is separate from his kids because there is a mahotsav or a youth festival which the kids are attending, and they have gone out partying in a beach. Not partying actually. They have gone
For a second honeymoon to another island.
like they are there in a separate beach. But having said that, I think the character that is shown of him starts off as a very timid and a peaceful person who does not really resort to any sort of violence. While the wife is really aggressive, I think opposites always attract. We see that here as well. But the way and the situations, they make him aggressive, they make him violent, they make him choose to have things or have food for his own survival.
Yeah.
So we very prominently see the survival of the fittest story through his character.
Exactly, like from consuming food which he has never touched, to doing things which are absolutely immoral, or he wouldn't have thought doing it a few weeks back.
Yeah.
Because it's established in the series that he chose to be a nice person. He chose to be a person who will not do these things because of his past. He saw his family, he decided to be this person, and he has to deter from that and become this person to survive for himself and his family.
Yeah. I mean, how a protective father, and that too in the middle of pandemic, will have to resort to things and activities which are against his own morals is something that the character shows the evolution. Then there was a junior doctor.
Yeah. So it's Radhika Mehrotra basically, and it's shown through her character that what many backward castes and communities goes through in this country. Like while there are a lot of things being done for them, reservation and things to make them be equal to everybody, but still there is discrimination. So that discrimination angle is shown, that how her family and also through them she has felt throughout the years that maybe she's not good enough. As a junior doctor, she has to prove herself and stand up for herself and say that yes, I know what am I doing.
Yeah. So she plays the role of a researcher and doctor, and she plays a key role into finding the source or the origin of this disease. And good portrayal of character as well. She's also been shown like quite timid because of the way, I mean, everyone's past decides the kind of personality or the person that you become. And I think because of all the past prejudices about her and her family, even the pressure from her own father, that इतना पढ़ाई करके क्या मिलेगा तुमको, मतलब those kind of things had overshadowed her own confidence. So for her to now being shown as someone who is taking stand and firm decisions. Then there was a nurse who had a PTSD because of certain incident that has happened in her, not really in childhood but in early adulthood, where she actually loses one of her friends, and she develops a PTSD for car driving. And now with this pandemic coming in, she has to drive a car to take certain people, to take the children to a safe place. And that shows a journey of her character.
The only thing is, one problem I had was, like, the PTSD usually arises from a certain thing which happens, right? Or a certain triggering point. I felt for her character, there was a lot of triggering points. I mean, she was afraid of being a nurse again. She was afraid of driving. She was also suffering the trauma of leaving her friend behind in Andaman and not really saying goodbye. So there were like 2-3 aspects of her PTSD. I mean, it just took too much time to establish that what this character actually went through. And I just felt not that much important of a character is what I just felt.
Yeah, I think in this series, her character and also her kind of lover's character did not really play a great role. But I'm assuming there's going to be a Kaala Paani season 2 as well. So वहाँ पे कुछ हो ही नहीं सकता because the character is dead.
Exactly.
Sorry. My bad. But on a serious note, you're talking about PTSD. I do not have any knowledge about that, so I can't really speak too much about what triggers, what not triggers. Is it just a single event that triggers or multiple events that can be triggering? So
it can be multiple events. It's just that for a character which is not that important for the story, we see such a long flashback.
वही होता है ना, like when there is no definite direction, you try to फैला हुआ रहता.
Exactly.
Oh, there is one more character, the Chota Okara.
Yeah.
The human and also an Okara.
Sukant Goyal. Right. So he actually plays a very good role, I felt. I mean, I like the character of it because they say a story in the beginning about Scorpion versus Frog. You watch the series for that story. I'm not going to spoil it.
And if you know it, you would know it.
You would know it, yeah. I mean, I heard that story when I was a child, so I carry that with myself anyway. So that story about the Scorpion and the Frog that plays throughout the series. He learns to be not a selfish person. He only has learned to be manipulative. He lies. He tries to do illegal things. He is not a good friend, not a good son, not a good brother, and he learns to be all of those things. So I think his character was a good one.
Yeah, basically, how to be a frog rather than being a scorpion.
Right.
Joseph Despard. Okay. Next is the policeman, which is played by Amay Wak. I think he plays a good role. I mean, he represents the police. He tries to tie hands with the government, with the officials as well. He tries to tie hands. I mean, he is shown as a smart, manipulative,
shady character.
character
Right.
who is also very self-oriented
Yes.
and knows only about his own well-being.
Yeah.
And then towards the end, it is shown like how he's not really thinking of himself,
Right.
and he's thinking about someone else
Right.
with whom he slowly falls in love with.
Yeah, exactly. At least some shade of character. It was not entirely black. That he's a negative
Yeah.
person and he's
So
going
from
to
a
be evil.
selfish to a selfless character.
Yeah.
Then there is Ashutosh Gowariker, who plays the role of
The Lieutenant Governor of Andaman. So his character is shown to be someone who is I think a good person. At least he knows what he's doing.
he gives TED talks.
TEDx
talks as well.
Exactly. He talks about the morality and the responsibility that comes with being a leader. So he is sympathetic towards the situation of Orakas. He likes them. He also understands the plight of the general population, and he has to take some tough decisions during the course of the series.
His evolution of character shows like how he was sensitive towards the tribal community and the fact that they should coexist with the native population, to making a decision that I think native population matters more than the life of an Okara. So that
Actually, Orakas are the native population. So
sorry मैं ना ओकारा बोल रही थी मैं.
भिंडी बना दो एकदम.
घर जाना है, ओकरा खाना है. And we see that shift in character, how initially we see him being more considerate and sensitive towards the Oraka population.
नेटिव्स बोल दो Orakas तो बोल नहीं पाओ. मुझे पता है. Omkara.
And we see that shift in the character, like how initially he was sensitive towards the tribal population to now he being not so considerate about them. There was this person also, Rajesh Khattar, the father of Ishan Khattar. He just represents corporate who is like majboor, उनको बस चाहिए था ज़मीन पे कुछ करना, some development. And just like Ambani's and Reliance's of the world, they are doing it because they have the power and they can do it. I think it is a very important message that he delivered there. Like all these people, I mean the power and the authorities, they actually do anything not just because they want to hurt someone's sentiment, but because they can do. They have the power and they have the money to do it, so they just do it.
Right. They don't think about the repercussions of what that might do, but yeah.
So that brings us to the end of this video. I hope you like it. I hope you like our take, where we have tried to take a balanced take on the pros and the cons of the entire storytelling as well. But do give it a shot. Do watch it. It's just an 8-episode series, and it's a gripping storytelling as well. So you are not really going to get bored as well. Wherever there are multiple characters, of course, there are a lot of parallel stories that keep on happening. But we also know that at some point or the other, these stories or these characters are actually going to merge together. So that is what we see here as well. It also ends on a cliffhanger, which definitely promises a season 2. So we are definitely going to be waiting and looking forward to it. And do leave behind a comment. We are going to come up with many more movie reviews, shows, and also a lot of other content as well in general, because the purpose of Weekends with Us is how we like to spend our weekend, how we can inspire you to spend your weekend or any time, like you find your time to be spending with friends, family, or anything. So so like, share, and subscribe, and see ya.